IPOT? Say it again. Say it again. Don't be shy. Say IPOT. Does Daddy watch IPOT? Yeah? Do you watch it with Daddy? Yeah? Maybe we'll send this to Sir Patrick Mack and he'll give us a shout out.
Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. We are back, and it looks like some more Q posts have popped up. Yep, we're going to get right to them. We last left you heroes at 3003. We're now at 3004, 50 minutes after the hour of 5. Q seems to have left this post in 4 parts. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got this countdown again. We are at 21. Let's go ahead and start at the top. We get this Twitter link here to Paul Sperry. Breaking: McCabe investigated not just Trump, but Sessions too. Top FBI official Andrew McCabe did not just investigate President Trump. As he notes in a little publicized part of his new book, McCabe even investigated his department boss, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions. After Senate Democrats asked McCabe to look into allegations, Sessions perjured himself during his confirmation hearings when he denied meeting with Russian officials during the 2016 campaign. Sessions had, in fact, met with Russian ambassador. He later corrected the record and explained he had forgotten speaking with the official and was not trying to mislead Congress. Ordering the Sessions probe was another unprecedented partisan action that has been forgotten, said former federal prosecutor Solomon L. Weisenberg, a partner at Nelson Mullins LLP in Washington. McCabe dished a healthy portion of scorn on Sessions in his book, The Threat: How the FBI Protects America in the Age of Terror and Trump. Yikes. He accused him of having trouble focusing and having to overcome a huge learning curve for an attorney general. He claimed he wasn't even reading briefing materials on national security threats. McCabe also accused Sessions of being Islamophobic and making racist comments in meetings. He even claimed that the attorney general thought federal agents who were taken hostage overseas had it coming and shouldn't be rescued. A former senior Justice Department aide to Sessions, who was in high-level meetings with McCabe and the former attorney general, strongly disputed McCabe's allegations, calling them fiction. Well, who would that former senior Justice Department aide to Sessions be? They're beyond absurd and outright false. Like just about everything else, he says, the official told Real Clear Investigations he was fired, after all, for lying to the FBI. Sessions fired McCabe last March on the recommendation of the FBI's disciplinary office after the Justice Department's Inspector General found that McCabe had repeatedly lied under oath to investigators about leaking information to the press about the ongoing Clinton Foundation case. The department watchdog referred evidence of McCabe's false statements to U.S. attorneys for criminal prosecution. A grand jury has been hearing the case. That's a key too. A grand jury has been hearing the case. In his 274-page book, McCabe does not mention ex-British spy Christopher Steele or his lurid and unverified Trump-Russia dossier, which was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign. And McCabe was not asked about either of them in any of his interviews with mostly friendly media outlets. He also left out his role in obtaining a FISA warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page and, by extension, the Trump campaign. Well, it seems like those are some pretty big topics to leave out of your 274-page book, Andrew McCabe. It is still not clear if McCabe's investigations of President Trump and his associates were completely absorbed by the special counsel's investigation, or if the FBI under his leadership continued to investigate the president on its own. Okay, so I think you see what's up here. And we've known this for quite some time now, that this spying began long before just President Trump. They were spying on anybody. They were spying on members of Congress and the Senate, and of course anybody that would have been opposition to Hillary Clinton. And not just opposition to Hillary Clinton, this just became kind of a regular practice here. And in little notice, June 2017, testimony. McCabe told the Senate Intelligence Committee that the FBI continues to investigate the Russia investigation. Explained McCabe, the FBI maintains a much broader responsibility to continue investigating issues relative to potential Russian counterintelligence activity and threats posed to us from Russian adversaries. There are laws against groundlessly subjecting individuals to criminal investigation. Former prosecutors say what FBI brass did to the president and his advisors could potentially be a violation of a federal statute known as deprivation of rights under the color of law. Other statutes prescribing fraud and false statements also come into play. Q asked Sessions' Senate vote. Well, it was 52 to 47, pretty close. And then we ask about Rod Rosenstein's Senate vote, 94 to 6. Yeah, he was their boy. Do you target your enemies or your allies? Well, I guess in this case they kind of targeted everybody, didn't they? But you generally target your enemies. Why was Sessions targeted? Who appointed Huber? Sessions appointed Huber, and Sessions was targeted because people knew that he was kind of a Trump guy. Who had direct oversight over Huber? Well, that was also Sessions. Deputy Attorney General also listed for optics. Yeah, remember all this time we've had Whitaker around. We just didn't really know much about him, right? Who really had direct oversight over Huber? No leaks, none. Well, I think outwardly, we would think that Huber would need to report to Rod Rosenstein, but in fact, he was reporting to Sessions all this time. Remember, Sessions was recused outwardly, but really all he was recused from was Trump-Russia collusion. Any investigations going into the Clinton Foundation or this FISA abuse could be done, and that was what was not being looked at in the outward narrative, and that's why people were getting so upset with Jeff Sessions. There were no leaks. None. That's because nobody was talking about it. And because nobody was talking about it, everybody was getting mad because no one was talking about it. So if you see this being talked about in the media, it's because someone is leaking, right? And now we're starting to understand that these investigations have been going on. We're seeing it in the result of some of these testimonies that are coming out. If you follow me on Twitter, I did a breakdown on Bruce Orr's testimony. And if you did not see it, you can check it out on Twitter. That link is down below. And if you don't get on Twitter, you can check it out on my Patreon. And that link is down below. It's the first post that you'll see. But we broke that down yesterday. Well, who removed the traitors within the FBI and DOJ? Jeff Sessions. Do you believe the timing is a coincidence? Not at all. And then we get this second one here. And this is from John Huber's status, who says, U.S. attorneys thoroughly enjoyed our time with AG Barr this week. He is a solid, proven leader with a clear vision for the DOJ. We will move forward with his priorities, hold offenders accountable, and advance the rule of law. Well, we know that he would like to open up the Clinton Foundation investigation again. He'd like to have a look into those emails, and I suppose if that's his solid, clear vision, then that's what they're going to move forward on, right? Very interesting. Q says clear vision for the DOJ, hold offenders accountable, advance the rule of law. Do you believe the timing is a coincidence? Not at all. Then we get a third Twitter status right here. The Trump 2020 Republicans. Sean Hannity, people will be held accountable as new evidence surfaces on multiple fronts. Now, this is about a 15-minute video, and ain't nobody got time for that because we got a ton of Q to do, so I made you a little montage. Check it out.
Oh, it's a montage because we ain't trying to watch the whole dang thing now.
What about all of the people that we know have been abusing power, committing real and serious crimes? Hillary Clinton's one. We look at people like McCabe and Comey and Strzok and Page and many, many more. Tonight, we have great news. According to my sources, everything that we have been revealing about the deep state for 2 years will very soon result in major, serious ramifications.
Get over here!
Georgia, his name is Doug Collins, and he released the full transcript of Bruce Orr's deposition, and its contents are shocking. By the way, there's going to be a cascade of these depositions being released. Now, the deep state house of cards, mark my words, it is beginning to tumble down. Bruce Orr passed along a thumb drive from his wife to the FBI so that Trump haters like Strzok and Page could have direct access to Hillary Clinton's op research.
You got me now. You got me now. You figured me out.
Steele was getting paid by your FBI, Hillary Clinton, and the DNC, and a Russian oligarch. Pretty good gig if you can get it. That's not all. Thanks to this transcript, we now know that Bruce Orr testified under oath about meeting with Fusion GPS founder and Christopher Steele's boss, Glenn Simpson. Now, this occurred during the 2016 campaign. Adam Schiff, who I think is the biggest liar in Congress, he claims that Bruce Orr did not tell the FBI about his contacts with Steele again until after the election.
That ain't true!
2016, the dossier was tainted, that Hillary paid for it, the DNC paid for it, Comey, McCabe. He even briefed Andrew Weissman, who's Mueller's pit bull, about this bias. So literally, the special counsel's office has been long aware of the biased origins of the fake, phony Clinton, DNC, and apparently FBI and Russian oligarch payments to Christopher Steele.
Think about that.
Yeah, just think about that. Do you believe the timing is a coincidence? And then fourth, we get this document right here. And this is a letter. It actually takes you right here. It says from Matthew Whitaker, OAG. And this was sent Wednesday, November 22nd, 2017 to John Huber. And I just want to read this part over here on the side. Obtained via FOIA litigation by American Oversight, November 22nd, 2017 email sent by former Justice Department Chief of Staff Matthew Whitaker to U.S. Attorney John Huber, attaching a November 22nd, 2017 letter from former Attorney General Jeff Sessions, directing Huber to look into various matters raised by Congressman Goodlatte, including investigations related of Hillary Clinton and Uranium One. Okay, so this has been going on since November of 2017, and here's the letter. We've talked about this before. But here's the important part right here. Dear Mr. Huber, in consultation with the Deputy Attorney General, I have requested that you review the matters referenced in the enclosed November 13, 2017 letter from Assistant Attorney General Stephen Boyd to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Robert Goodlatte and make recommendations to me or the Deputy Attorney General as appropriate. Your review need not include matters that you determine are within the scope of the investigation being conducted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Your recommendations should include whether any matters not currently under investigation warrants the opening of an investigation, whether any matters currently under investigation require further resources or further investigation, and whether any matters would merit the appointment of a special counsel. Q says, do you believe the timing is a coincidence? And then we're referenced back to this minus 21, this 21-day countdown we were assuming that we saw here in 2903 back on the 27th of February, where Q was responding to an Anon, feeling like Anons in U.S. will be up late tonight following POTUS Q in Vietnam. That was during the summit in Hanoi, Vietnam. And Q said it's going to be historic, planned long ago. And there was the negative 21. Within the next 21 days, big happenings are going to take place. And of course, it was originally said happenings with two B's. Could that be Bill Barr? Post 3005, 54 minutes after the hour of 5 a.m. We get this tweet here from Donald J. Trump. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. And look how early he knew. He knew as far back as the 4th of March, 2017. Q says the President of the United States told you who authorized the targeting. And of course, we've known this for quite some time, right? In order to get this FISA thing approved, Obama was the one sending out the approval, and he was getting updated throughout his presidential daily briefs. Let's move on to the next post right here. 3006, 12 minutes after the hour of 6. Q says Nellie Orr, CIA, indeed, she was a clown. Remember, she spoke Russian. She's got a ham radio license, and she is a farm-raised, free-range, knuckle-headed clown. There are others within the FBI DOJ linked to the CIA, and then it takes you to this link here. And it takes you to a Washington Post link, but this is the same article right here. Abigail Spanberger, when ex-spies go rogue by becoming lawmakers. Once Abigail Spanberger embraced the secret life of a CIA operative, she never imagined breaking cover. She handled and recruited spies in Europe, where she specialized in counterterrorism and nuclear proliferation issues. She aspired to an appointment somewhere as chief of station, the Langley equivalent of ambassador. Instead, she wound up leaving the agency in 2014 in search of a less nomadic life after having 3 children. Then came the Trump presidency and an overheated climate in which partisanship often triumphed over facts. So Spanberger, a proudly apolitical collector of evidence, decided to do something profoundly radical for an ex-spy. She ran for the House of Reps because that's what apolitical people do, and won, upsetting Representative Dave Bratton, Virginia's 7th District. On Thursday, when the 116th Congress convenes, she will join a small vanguard of ex-intelligence officers becoming Instagram-friendly lawmakers. I see, so all these apolitical folks, ex-intelligence, are now becoming political. Leaving the CIA was the biggest loss of my life. I mourn the agency. I miss it every day, said Spanberger, 39, one of 3 former CIA officers who will serve in the new Congress. So I think you see what's going on here. And I want to point this out here. The old Yale guys would say, what the hell's going on? You got to be secret and anonymous and let the other guys who don't know what they're doing play the political game, Panetta said. But young people at the CIA now are not particularly tied to the long legacies of the intelligence business and recognize that it's important to get involved in politics, because if they do not, others will distort the work of intelligence agencies. Okay, so for an agency that long prided itself on being apolitical, it sure is cranking out a whole bunch of politics, right? For so many of us with national security backgrounds, bringing our history of public service without a partisan lens is important, and it's a skill set, Spanberger said. We serve the mission under Republican and Democratic presidents. Right. Okay, I gotcha. So I think you see what's up here. They're obviously trying to get a whole bunch of former clowns, probably on a bunch of oversight committees, so that they can conduct their quote-unquote oversight, right? Says down at the bottom here, she'd like to serve on the House Agriculture Committee, but of course also hopes for a spot on the Intelligence Committee. Yeah, one can hope. When I was putting my request for committee, I said, where can I be the greatest use? She said, they typically don't put first-term members on the Intelligence Committee. I would be surprised, frankly, if I get it, but there are compelling reasons why it would make sense. Yeah, exactly, especially considering there was a whole crop of former clown knuckleheads this year, all running Democrat. How about that? Q says, what access does a House member have? What access does a House committee member have? Well, I imagine they have a security clearance, right? Which probably gives them some access to certain documents and other different kinds of information, right? Think Brennan spy campaign, U.S. Senate. And if you remember some years back, Brennan actually got caught spying on the U.S. Senate. And oddly enough, Dianne Feinstein was one of them, one of the people calling him out. What happens when the CIA targets spy insertion? The executive, House, Senate, DOJ, FBI, state, etc., branches of the United States government. Well, then you've got a whole soup sandwich, right? Look, those are all our agencies being spied on. And it's domestic spying on ourselves. It's ridiculous. And once this gets out to be common knowledge, I think that you're going to see people of all political persuasions upset about this, and that's why this information is so important to leak out in good timing. How many so-called former CIA agents ran for House election in 2018? Well, I don't know. We covered it some months ago, but it was quite a handful. I'm not exactly sure of the entire number, but yeah, they were all running Democrat. What happens when the CIA targets spy plus tech insertion of Google, Facebook, LifeLog, Twitter, etc.? And if you'll remember, we've been talking for the last few days about all this stuff, Google, Facebook, LifeLog, all this kind of stuff. And if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, please go watch my last few videos and that'll give you an idea. Now it takes you to this Fox News link right here. Mark Zuckerberg's conference room has a secret panic chute, report says. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been accused of a lot of things, but a new report details just how far he is willing to take his privacy and safety. He reportedly has a panic chute in one of the tech giant's conference rooms. An in-depth investigation from Business Insider looked at the company's security practices. Zuckerberg is said to have a number of different measures to protect himself, including a Praetorian Guard implemented in case an employee tries to rush him when he's at a company all-hands meeting, as well as the aforementioned panic BitChute. He also has access to a large glass-walled conference room in the middle of the space near his desk that features bullet-resistant windows and a panic button. The news outlet wrote in its story, "There's a persistent rumor among Facebook employees that he has a secret panic chute. His team can evacuate him down to get him out of the office in a hurry. The truth of this matter remains murky." One source said that they had been briefed about the existence of a secret exit route through the floor of the conference room into the parking garage, but others said they had no knowledge of it. In addition to the aforementioned measures, Zuckerberg takes extreme precautions protecting himself and his family. He has armed officers on constant guard outside of gated Bay Area homes. So you were okay with building the wall there, weren't you? One of which may also contain a panic room. Business Insider reported, if Zuckerberg attends a bar, his security team sweeps it to make sure it's safe. They also look into any new doctors to vet them, as well as instructors if Zuckerberg begins a new hobby. He also has a personal driver with the security team monitoring traffic and adjusting the route if needed, the report said. In a 2018 SEC filing for the company's second quarter, Facebook said it had approved a pre-tax allowance of $10 million to Zuckerberg for his and his family's personal security. This allowance will be in addition to the continued funding of Mr. Zuckerberg's overall security program to cover the costs of security personnel for his protection, the procurement, installation, and maintenance of certain required security measures for his residences, and the usage of private aircraft for personal travel, the filing said. This allowance will be paid to Mr. Zuckerberg net of required tax withholdings, and Mr. Zuckerberg may apply the net proceeds to pay for additional personnel, equipment, services, residential improvements, or other security-related costs. Well, that sounds like a lot of panic right there. Q says, what happens when people wake up to the fact that Facebook is a cover for LifeLog DARPA? Well, I imagine that a lot of people are not going to be real happy about that. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I still think there's a lot of knuckleheads that just probably won't really care or get it. What happens when people discover all real-time data, inputs, and listening, camera, GPS, metadata is being harvested and made accessible to Langley? Well, that's going to rub a lot of bums the wrong way, right? And that's what we're trying essentially to get out to the mainstream public, because if they know this, then they're not going to want to use these social media platforms. Charter of the NSA, domestic plus foreign. Charter of the CIA, foreign, not domestic, forbidden by law. Yeah, you're not supposed to spy on your own citizens, knuckleheads. Why is the CIA conducting an active umbrella collection campaign, stringer tangents to 9, against all U.S. citizens through LifeLog, Facebook, absorbed tangent targeting, bypass data encryption on phone, tablet, etc. Primary focus on elected officials. Yeah, they were spying on all of us. And once you've got any kind of software on your phone or your tablet or whatever it is, it's stuck there whether you delete it or not. Primary focus on elected officials. Primary focus on elected officials in key subcommittees. Yeah, very, very likely, particularly anybody who is going to be planning on running against Hillary or might have a little bit of info on the deep state. Can activation occur of recording, local on-device, pre-SCIF entry? Well, I suppose so. Q says no logs, no keys, ghost in, ghost out. People only engage security plus escape vehicles when they have something very serious to fear. And I suppose Mark Zuckerberg has a lot to fear. Otherwise, he wouldn't need all this bulletproof glass and this panic chute, right? What is that fear for MZ? Well, that fear for MZ is the fear of everyone understanding exactly what Facebook really is, knowing that it was never meant to be a social media platform. That was only the outward narrative, right? The whole idea was to spy on you, to get your face out there. It was called Facebook, right? And of course, you play all these little games in which you can enter little pictures of your face or whatever. They can get new, fresh scans all the time and keep you up to date because it was LifeLog, right? Well, I suppose knowing that would put Mark Zuckerberg in a panic, because once everybody realizes exactly what that means, he'll never be able to walk down the street. Post 3007, 17 minutes after the hour of 6. No. Q takes us back to December of last year. Why are Sarah and John getting all the real scoops? Because that is who kind of was Q approved, right? Expand your thinking. Why are they now under protection? Yeah, they've got their own little security detail, and basically the Q team has told the deep state, hey, hands off Sarah Carter and John Solomon. And that's why we know that we can get the real scoops from them. And as soon as everything gets declassified, we start seeing testimony get released in the form of John Solomon articles and Sarah Carter scarticles. And we've got a tweet here from Sarah Carter, who's responding to Paul Sperry, who tweets, McCabe, who's under grand jury investigation for lying about leaking in early 2017, ordered FBI's inspection division to open internal probe into who leaked to Sarah Carter and John Solomon at Circa News that McCabe had made disparaging remarks about General Flynn in staff meetings. Okay, so the projection is real, even with the members of the media. Now they're worried about leaks, but they're only worried about leaks to Sarah Carter and John Solomon. Well, I imagine they're getting a lot of information from the POTUS and Q, right? And of course, Sarah Carter says, well, I had heard rumors. Q says, define protection. Well, that's when you keep something safe, right? Safe from either being invaded or harmed or whatnot. And we all know that Sarah and John are part of the good guys. Despite what they may say out in the public narrative, they are likely following Q to a T. And did you see what I did there? Because it's so... All right, never mind. Let's move on. Post 3008, 24 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. We get this Q-proof right here. And we have on the top a Donald J. Trump tweet. This is just the beginning. Official Team Trump. Jobs, 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 MAGA. And that was posted at 5:50 p.m. And we also see this was the first Q post that we covered today. Also 5:50. And it looks like they almost got 17 seconds. No, that would have been cool. Q says, statistically impossible. Well, I would think so. It's mathematically impossible, right? And you can tell all those Q haters all about that. Another one for you to log for the Q haters. Let's move on to 3009. 29 minutes after the hour of 6, we get this graphic here, and it's basically just a graphic clearly putting the Q proof into play. Here we have the watch, we have the original Q post 3004, and we have the POTUS tweet on the right. The Anon says 0 Delta, Q in before POTUS, and Q confirms. Let's move on to the next one, 3010, 35 minutes after the hour of 6. And this is a September 5th, 2018 tweet from Donald J. Trump, who just simply says, treason. Q says it's about to happen. Be vigilant. Q. Post 3011, 16 minutes after the hour of 7. Q says sealed becomes unsealed. Indictments coming. Q. Very exciting. And thanks to the Anon, who memorizes us all, that we saw this a year ago. Post 902 from March 9th, 2018, where Q said seals. Where there was once darkness, there is now light. C to shining C. Godspeed. Q. And this Anon says happy 1 year Delta. Post 3012, 30 minutes after the hour of 7. Q takes us back to this August 31st, 2018 post, 2042. We're not going to go through this whole thing. This is in regards to a special approval visa that was given to Natalia Veselnitskaya. And this was set up so that she could come into the country and try and set up George Papadopoulos. And of course, Manafort set up the whole Trump Tower meeting and all this. And of course, all she really wanted to talk about was the Magnitsky Act while she did a little bit of spying, right? Then we get this Twitter link right here to George Papadopoulos. People do understand that the guys the book was thrown at me, Manafort, Flynn, had vices on them. And of course, Papadopoulos did a little bit of time. Manafort's probably going to do a little bit more for other reasons. Flynn has yet to be charged. And of course, there's Carter Page, too, who's likely not to be charged for anything, right? Well, what was the point in doing that? Well, the point in doing that was explained here in 2042, and we've talked about this, to create umbrella surveillance. They couldn't just directly spy on the POTUS, but if they could get to Manafort, Papadopoulos, Page, Flynn, people who ran with other people, and that was the whole point of this meeting, right? To try and get Trump Jr., suckered into this meeting so that they could spy on these people and then create the leapfrogs, which would eventually lead them to their real target, which was the POTUS, right? And Q says, Patriots stand at the ready and prepared for what is about to come, the Great Awakening. Q. Post 3013, 33 minutes after the hour of 7, we get a link to Twitter from one of my favorite rags. The Daily Beast, who's got an exclusive. The DOJ just unearthed the letter Matt Whitaker delivered to the Utah U.S. Attorney directing a review of how the department handled the Clinton Foundation and the Uranium One issues. All right, well, you're a little bit late there, Betsy Woodruff, who just put this out after it claimed no such document existed. The Justice Department just unearthed a letter Matt Whitaker delivered to the Utah U.S. Attorney directing a review of how the department handled the Clinton Foundation and the Uranium One issues. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions wrote the letter on November 22nd, 2017, which we've had for a while. For Utah U.S. Attorney John Huber, Matt Whitaker, who was Sessions' chief of staff at the time, emailed the letter to Huber that day, writing, "As we discussed." He also sent Huber a copy of a letter the Justice Department's Congressional Affairs chief sent to the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee on November 13th of that year. Wow, sounds like your guys are really breaking the big exclusive here. Q says exclusive, 1.5 years behind Anon's. Q. Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about this letter for quite a while, and although we haven't talked about Whitaker for as long as we have Sessions, we have known about this letter. As a matter of fact, we covered it on this channel right here. So catch up, Betsy. Looks like you're slipping. Maybe you should click subscribe. Post 3014, 36 minutes after the hour of 7. We got a nice, sweet little picture of a Pepe Moab right there. He's doing a little pontificating. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking about destruction. Q says, Anons understand now why we've been targeted daily by the fake news, media, and shills. Yeah, because they realize that this is the real news now, and more people are tuning in to check it out because they want to get the truth that they've been hiding for years. Well, it says today they are learning the truth. Well, they know the truth about what happened, but I think they're really learning the truth that the fact of the matter is that they are no longer the mainstream. They are the alternative. You have been prepared for what is about to take place, dark to light, which leads me to think we're looking at some unsealed indictments. And, you know, we've spent a good part of the year, really, especially those of you who've been following this channel or others like it for a while, just kind of beating FISA to death, right? We know it so well at some point, but it gets really frustrating to kind of keep hearing it over and over again. And believe you me, I know, because I spent a lot of time talking about it over and over again. But the fact is we get new people every single day that really needs to understand the basics of how this works, because now that the mainstream media is falling apart and we're starting to see Scarticles and John Solomon articles come out and tell everybody the truth, people are going to be like, wait a minute, what is all this? This wasn't what the news told us. And they're going to need some people who understand what happened to be able to tell them. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is you and I. So that's what we've got to do. That's part about bringing dark to light. Enjoy the show where we go one, we go all. Q. America! Post 3015, 1 minute after the hour of 8 a.m. We get this link to msn.com, and it basically just takes us back to the Daily Least article from Betsy Woodruff, who's a year and a half behind. Here's a couple quotes from there. It strains credulity to believe that the Justice Department didn't know about this letter when they swore under penalty of perjury that it didn't exist. You don't exactly forget about a formal directive to investigate Hillary Clinton signed by Jeff Sessions, he added. So now they're butthurt that they weren't hearing about this. The fact that they only found it the same week Matthew Whitaker was heading for the exit makes it hard to see DOJ's previous denial as anything but a deliberate attempt to conceal. Sessions and Whitaker shouldn't escape accountability by skipping town. Wow. Q says Scaramucci model. How do you keep a secret? How do you prevent leaks? Well, how do you keep a secret? It's real easy. You don't talk ever. And you make sure everybody else doesn't talk. How do you prevent leaks? Well, there's a lot of ways you can prevent leaks. I suppose you can threaten. I suppose there's a lot of ways that you can prevent leaks. You can offer up disinformation. There's a lot of ways to prevent leaks. But I think in this case, what they're referring to is this Scaramucci model. Basically, get them in and get them out. And that's what Whitaker did. He came in, dropped the hammer, and then got on out. Now, he's not actually out. He is still an advisor. It remains to be seen what exactly he's going to be doing for the next few years. But that was the whole idea. Get in, drop the bomb, and get on out. Moving targets are hard to get. And of course, now the deep state is pretty upset about this because they're realizing that all this is being investigated into them. They're starting to realize that all this time, even though we've been talking about it for a year, this investigation is into them. And as this Russian collusion narrative falls apart like it is, we have a new narrative. And it doesn't matter what they do to try and skirt that narrative or try and start their own investigation like Gerald Nadler is doing. It doesn't matter. Nothing can stop what is coming. Let's move on to the next post. 30:16, 34 minutes after the hour 9, we get a Twitter link back to Sarah Carter. A vote for illegals? Speaker Pelosi says new immigrants must not have their votes suppressed. Wow, they just got here and already their votes are being suppressed. My goodness, those poor people. And of course, it takes you to a scarticle. And it really is focused on this. Speaker Nancy Pelosi at a press conference in Austin, Texas, focused on new immigrants and their right to vote. And here's what she had to say. When we talk about newcomers, we have to recognize the constant reinvigoration of America that they are, that we all have been, our families, and that unless you're blessed to be Native American, like Elizabeth Warren, which is a blessing in itself that we respect, but that constant reinvigoration of hope, determination, optimism, courage to make the future better for the next generation, those are American traits. And these newcomers make America more American. Actually, no, they make them more other stuff. And we want them, when they come here, to be fully part of our system. And that means not suppressing the vote of our newcomers to America. And there's that word again, suppressing. Like I said, they come here already and they're suppressed. Those poor, put upon immigrants just got here and now they can't vote. The real reason they want open borders, follow the maps. And like I said before, this is, we all know it, this has to do with human trafficking. This doesn't just have to do with the Democratic vote. Of course, that's a big, big part of it. But I think that the maps means a few things here. I think that could be referring to minor attracted persons. Illegal immigrants first, Americans last. That's why it's so important for them, because they just want to flood the borders. They want to breed us out of existence. And they're all thinking that these people are going to vote Democrat. And of course, those open borders make it easier to traffic children, right? They are afraid of losing power forever. Yeah, well, that's kind of how they keep their power. They should be. Welcome to the Democratic Party Q. Let's move on to the last post, or at least the most recent one. 21 minutes after the hour of 10, we get post 3017. No, we get this Twitter link right here to Stacey Dash, who appears to retweet this from Super Elite Texan. The gentleman speaks a lot of truth. He's correct. He is, and we're all victims of discrimination for supporting Trump. This man, this father, refused to buy into the liberal agenda of all whites are racist and Black Lives Matter crap, nor does he want his children to. Now, I normally struggle with some of these videos, so let me try and play it for you here.
Are you a Trump supporter? I go, yeah, aren't you? So it's just crazy, man. It's just amazing that I actually have to justify it. And the only reason they ask those questions is because of the color of my skin. The crazy part is, we use the words like discrimination and racism, we hear them all the time, but the reality is I think I'm a victim of discrimination just by the fact that I'm not going with the crowd. The fact that I'm thinking for myself and decide to become a conservative and vote for President Trump, vote for the Republican ticket. People, I'm a disgrace to my party. Some people think I'm a disgrace to the history of blacks in America, and that's just ridiculous. I was born in 1971. I wasn't a victim of Jim Crow. I didn't have to sit in the back of a bus. I didn't have to do any of that. That racism doesn't exist, but the reality of it, the way that most people want you to think about it, especially people on the left and the Democratic Party, is that it's happening every day. That I can't walk down the street without the fear of some police officer shooting me is ridiculous. I grew up. I have a family. I'm a business owner, and I don't want my daughters to grow up in a country believing that. And that's another reason why we're here today. And we want to just be an example and give other people permission to say, you know what, I'm willing to step out there too, because I don't agree with that stuff, no matter what they say.
Well, there's not much else I can say that he didn't already nail right on the head, and it kind of makes me sad that we still use these tactics, but we see exactly what's going on, and they've been using this all along, trying to use the Uncle Tom argument, if you will, and of course, if you'll remember, Uncle Tom was the one who knew how to read. So there you go, just another conservative speaking some truth, and we're starting to see more and more voices. We see again a very similar post here in 3018. 11 minutes after the hour of 12, we get another Twitter status. And again, Q says the Great Awakening. Attempts to divide will fail. Patriots have no skin color. It was the same thing that was posted in 3017. And this takes you to Oaktown Unfiltered. Hispanics against illegal immigration. There are millions and millions of us, but fake news won't report this. So Patriots must. God bless this amazing woman. And it's about a 2.5 minute video. I'm just going to play you the first few seconds because she really nails it too. Check it out.
For president. The ones that don't like it, then they should go back to their country where they're from and correct their government instead of trying to correct ours. So therefore, hello to everybody that is out there, freeloaders, get back to your countries. And there's nothing racial that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that come here, take advantage of food stamps, Medicaid, everything else that comes along. And especially the young ladies that come and pop the kids here just so they can have the key to the USA.
So there you have it, another outstanding testimonial from another fine patriot. Those are your Q posts for now. I want to thank an Anon who posted this. This is going to be a little hard to see on your screen, but don't worry, I will leave this down below in the video description. Once again, I will leave this down below in the video description. This appears to be a little bit of a map here. Now, as you know, Q posts a lot of images on not just qmap.pub or where you're reading it from, but if you take these image searches, they take you to a whole bunch of different WikiLeaks emails, and a lot of you guys have already pointed this out. This appears to be a map of a whole bunch of them right here. Now, like I said, it's a little bit small for you to see, but it's not important. We're not going to go search through these here. I'm going to leave this down below for you to check out, but big thanks to the Anon who went through the trouble of doing this. This is an incredibly tedious task, and it is greatly appreciated. All right, that's all I got for you for now, kids. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks to all of you who do that already. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, welcome to you. Please keep in mind that from time to time, you're going to get unclicked and unnotified and unsubscribed. I can't help you with that. You're just going to have to check on your end and just keep checking back and re-clicking yourself. I greatly appreciate it. We don't want to get separated, but that's exactly what social media would like to do. Keep you and me apart. That's not going to happen. All right, kids, all my links are down below. My Gab, my BitChute, my Real.video, which is now Brighteon.com, and I'm over here at Twitter at IPOT1776. That's at IPOT1776. And of course, all those links are down below. My email is down below. My P.O. box is down below if you'd like to send something. And if you'd like to support the channel, my Patreon link is down below too. All those are down below. And of course, what I just showed you is also going to be down below. So please check the video description. All right, kids, that's it. I'm going to get on out for now. This is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay free.